That evening, Amara sat in her small room at home, staring at the wall. Her parents were devastated by the news. Her mother cried quietly in the kitchen. Her father said nothing, but the disappointment in his eyes was worse than any words. Amara wanted to tell them what she suspected, but what proof did she have? A conversation she had overheard weeks ago? Who would believe her? Over the next few days, Amara tried to act normal, but grief and anger consumed her. She saw Grace walking through the school compound, smiling and accepting congratulations that should have been Amara's. Grace was not a bad student, but everyone knew she was not the best. Her family's wealth had bought her way into everything, from private tutors to expensive study materials, and now it had bought her a scholarship she did not earn. Kioma was furious on Amara's behalf. "We have to do something," she insisted one afternoon. "We cannot let them get away with this." "What can we do?" Amara replied bitterly. "Who will listen to us? They have already made their decision." But Kioma would not give up. She suggested they gather evidence, talk to other students, find out if this had happened before. Slowly, reluctantly, Amara agreed. The spark of hope that had died 3 days ago began to flicker again, small but persistent. They started asking questions carefully. They talked to students from previous years who had competed for scholarships. Slowly, a pattern emerged. 3 years ago, a brilliant student named Ejike mysteriously lost a scholarship at the last minute. 2 years ago, another student named Blessing experienced the same thing. Each time, the scholarship had gone to a student with wealthy, influential parents. Amara began to keep a notebook. She wrote down names, dates, and details. She recorded what she had overheard in the staff room. She collected testimonies from other students who had been cheated. The notebook grew thicker with evidence, but Amara still felt powerless. What could she do with this information? If she reported it to the principal, he would simply deny everything. He was part of the system. One night, Kioma had an idea. "My uncle works for the state education board," she said. "He oversees all the schools in this region. If we can get this information to him, he could investigate."
For the first time in weeks, Amara felt real hope, but she also felt fear. If she reported this, she would be going against powerful people. The principal, Mr. Okonkwo, and all the wealthy parents who benefited from this corruption would try to silence her. They could ruin her future completely. They could spread lies about her, destroy her reputation, maybe even force her out of school entirely. Amara thought about her parents. She thought about all the students who had been cheated before her. She thought about all the students who would be cheated in the future if someone did not stop this. And she made a decision. She asked Chioma to arrange a meeting with her uncle. They would have to be careful, have to plan everything perfectly, but they would expose the truth. The night before the meeting, Amara barely slept. She reviewed the notebook one more time, making sure every detail was accurate. She knew that once she took this step, there would be no going back. The meeting took place at Chioma's house on a Saturday afternoon. Chioma's uncle, Mr. Emmanuel, was a serious man with kind eyes. He listened carefully as Amara explained everything. He examined the notebook, asked questions, and took notes. When Amara finished speaking, he sat in silence for a long moment. "This is serious," he finally said. "If what you are telling me is true, this is not just about one scholarship. This is systematic corruption that has been happening for years. But you understand what you are asking for, don't you? Once I start this investigation, there will be consequences. People will try to discredit you. They will say you were lying because you were bitter about losing. Are you prepared for that?" Amara's hands trembled, but her voice was steady. "Yes, sir. I am ready." Mr. Emmanuel nodded. "Then we will proceed, but I will need you to be strong. This will not be easy." The investigation began quietly. Mr. Emmanuel visited the school, requesting records and files. He interviewed teachers and students separately. He examined the scholarship scoring sheets and compared them with the official results. The evidence was overwhelming. The scores had been changed, not just for Amara's scholarship, but for others in previous years. As the investigation progressed, the atmosphere at Bright Future Academy changed. Rumors spread quickly. Students whispered about government officials visiting the school.
Teachers looked nervous and uncertain. The principal became defensive and angry, and Amara became the target of their frustration. Mr. Okonkwo stopped her in the corridor one day. His voice was low and threatening. "You are making a terrible mistake, girl. Do you know what happens to students who disrespect their teachers, who lie about their school? Your future in this town is finished." Amara felt fear crawl up her spine, but she stood her ground. "I am not lying, sir. I am telling the truth." "Your truth will destroy you," he hissed and walked away. That night, Amara received a text message from an unknown number. "Withdraw your complaint or face the consequences." She showed it to her parents. Her father wanted her to stop immediately, afraid for her safety. Her mother was torn between fear and pride, but Amara refused to back down. The final evidence came from an unexpected source. A young teacher who had witnessed the corruption for years finally found the courage to speak. She provided Mr. Emmanuel with emails and documents that proved the conspiracy. The principal, Mr. Okonkwo, and 2 other senior teachers had been taking bribes from wealthy parents for years, manipulating scholarship results and examination scores. 2 weeks later, the State Education Board released their findings. The report was devastating. The principal was immediately suspended pending criminal investigation. Mr. Okonkwo and the other corrupt teachers were removed from their positions. Grace Adebayo's scholarship was revoked, and Amara's name was restored to the list of scholarship winners. But the victory felt bittersweet. The school community was divided. Some students and parents praised Amara for her courage. Others blamed her for destroying the school's reputation. Some called her a hero. Others called her a troublemaker who should have stayed quiet. On the day the principal was officially removed, Amara stood in the assembly ground once again. This time, a representative from the State Education Board presented her with the scholarship certificate. The applause was scattered and uncertain. Many students looked uncomfortable, unsure how to react. The teachers who had once praised Amara now avoided her eyes. That evening, Amara sat with her parents in their small living room. Her father held the scholarship certificate in his hands, tears streaming down his weathered face. Her mother embraced her tightly, whispering prayers of gratitude. And for the first time in months, Amara felt at peace. The next morning, Amara returned to school. She knew the coming months would be difficult. The corruption investigation exposed uncomfortable truths about the school, and many people wanted to pretend none of it had happened. But something had changed, not just at Bright Future Academy, but in Amara herself. She realized that silence protects the guilty and condemns the innocent. She realized that speaking the truth, even when it is frightening and costly, is the only way to create real change. She realized that one person's courage can inspire others to find their own voice. As she walked through the school gates that morning, younger students watched her with new eyes. Some looked at her with admiration, others with curiosity, and a few with the kind of understanding that comes from carrying secrets of their own. Amara smiled at them gently, hoping that her story would give them strength when they needed it. The scholarship had been stolen from her, but she had fought to get it back. More importantly, she had fought for every student who would come after her, ensuring that their hard work would be honored and their dreams protected. The system tried to silence her, but her voice was louder than their corruption. That night, Amara stood at her window, looking out at the dark street below. She thought about all the students across the country who faced similar injustices, who were told to accept unfairness quietly, who were taught that speaking up was more dangerous than staying silent. And she promised herself that she would continue to speak, continue to stand for truth, and continue to fight for justice. Because silence may feel safer, but it changes nothing. Courage may be frightening, but it has the power to transform not only your own life, but the lives of everyone around you. Speaking the truth can be costly, but it is the only way to build a world where hard work matters more than money, where talent matters more than connections, and where justice matters more than power. Amara closed her notebook that night, but she did not hide it away. She kept it on her desk where she could see it every day, a reminder of the battle she had fought and won. The darkness that had threatened to consume her dreams was gone. She had faced her fear, protected others who could not protect themselves, and finally changed the story forever. The stolen scholarship had been returned, but more importantly, the truth had been set free.